Every night he noticed the numbers didn't add up. His solar grid was bleeding power. At first he thought it was a glitch, but then he caught her, the HOA's self-appointed watchdog, sneaking across his driveway and plugging her Tesla into his solar outlet. And when she refused to stop, he made one small change, cranking the voltage to maximum. What happened next, the entire neighborhood would never forget. The neighborhood was perfect, at least on the outside. Rows of suburban homes with flawless lawns, picket fences, and solar panels glinting in the sun. A gated community run not by democracy, but by the sharp claws of the Homeowners Association, and no one sharpened those claws more than Karen. Karen wasn't just a neighbor, she was the self-anointed sheriff of suburbia. The type who filed noise complaints for wind chimes, who measured grass with rulers, and who wielded HOA guidelines like scripture. But beneath her mask of concern, she carried something uglier, entitlement, and she had a new target, her neighbor, Marcus. Marcus wasn't just any homeowner, he was an engineer, a veteran, a man who had served his country, then poured his savings into designing a fully solar-powered home, his pride, his independence, his dream. To Marcus, the solar grid wasn't just about saving money, it was about freedom, energy independence, a quiet defiance against anyone who thought he didn't belong. He was polite but private, friendly but guarded. He waved to neighbors, but he also noticed the stares, the subtle ones, the whispered ones, the ones that told him he was tolerated, not welcomed. And Karen, she wasn't whispering. She was watching. It started small. A flicker on his monitoring app. A spike in usage when he wasn't home. At first, Marcus thought it was a calibration error. Then he checked his security cameras, and there she was, Karen, pulling her gleaming Tesla Model S into his driveway under the cover of dusk, plugging her car into his solar outlet and leaving it there for hours, night after night. The audacity burned hotter than the summer sun. She didn't even ask. She didn't even hide it well. She just took. Marcus wanted to confront her, but part of him was curious. How far would she go? The next morning he tried. Calm, respectful, direct. Karen, he said, I noticed you've been plugging into my solar grid. That's my power. You can't just... But she cut him off with a smirk. Solar power's free, isn't it? You've got more than enough. Why should you care if I borrow a little? Borrow, that was the word she used. As if sneaking into someone's yard and draining their system overnight was neighborly sharing. When Marcus insisted she stop, she waved her HOA handbook in his face. You should be grateful, Marcus. We let you move in here. Maybe try being a good neighbor. The words dripped with venom. Marcus clenched his jaw. He knew if he reported her, the HOA board would circle the wagons around her. They always did, so instead he waited. Marcus wasn't just an engineer. He was inventive. That night, as he watched her Tesla siphon his power, he opened his monitoring app. With a few keystrokes, he adjusted the voltage regulator on the outlet she kept abusing. Slowly, carefully, he tuned it higher. Not enough to cause damage, just enough to make her car's system react. And then he watched. The next evening, Karen strutted up his driveway again, smug as ever, and plugged in her Tesla, but this time the car didn't quietly hum as it charged. This time the dashboard blinked red. The system screeched warnings. Overvoltage detected. Charging aborted. Karen's smirk vanished. She tried again. Same result. Panic flickered across her face. Marcus, sitting inside with his cameras rolling, sipped his coffee and smiled. By morning, word had spread. Neighbors had seen Karen arguing with her Tesla in Marcus's driveway. Some laughed. Some shook their heads. Some finally saw the entitled woman for what she was. And when Karen tried to complain to the HOA, Marcus had evidence, footage of her trespassing, plugging in and draining his grid. Suddenly her reign of power crumbled. Marcus didn't seek revenge. He didn't yell. He didn't threaten. He simply let Karen expose herself and let technology deliver the justice she had earned. Because sometimes dignity isn't about fighting fire with fire. It's about setting the voltage high enough for the truth to burn through. Karen thought she was draining him, but in the end she drained herself of her credibility, her standing and her power. Closing narration. Narrator voice, somber yet powerful. So remember this story the next time someone takes without asking. The next time entitlement dresses itself as authority, because sometimes the strongest power isn't in the grid, it's in knowing when to flip the switch.